G'day playmates and welcome to another Harmer vid. Of course I'm back with DCS and just recently purchased the Arctic Thunder campaign for the Hornet, and of course it uses the Cola map. So obviously you've got to have that map to play this campaign. So without any further ado, let's have a look at it. By way of Mission 00 introduction. Okay, situation. This is a brief introduction to the main concept and characters of the Arctic Thunder campaign. Sit back and enjoy. Okay. There will be some clicking, but not too much. Okay. Let's start this sucker. And fly.
Moi ja tervetuloa! Kiitos, että ostit Arctic Thunder-kampanjan. Mun nimi on Vähäkylä. Mä edustan Airgoons-yhteisöä internetissä Something Awful Forumelta. Olen pelaajan, sinun ääni. Yes, you will be flying as a Finnish Air Force pilot. But don't worry, vast majority of the radio calls will be in English, with just a few exceptions. Don't worry about authenticity. I was born and raised in Finland. Now, since most of the people do not bother with checking any README files that are included with the campaigns, together with Baltic Dragon we put together this short tutorial mission, which is designed to provide you with all the information needed to fully enjoy the campaign. Let's get to it. First of all, a very important thing, before flying the missions, make sure that you disable any unofficial third-party aircraft and other mods. These are known to interfere with DLC campaigns and may cause problems with some of the missions. Also, it would be best to disable the VACOM or voice attack, as some people reported some trouble with these. Finally, turn off easy comms. This is crucial for proper functioning of the campaign. Second, before flying each mission, take your time to carefully read the briefing and understand what's required of you. After takeoff, follow instructions from your flight lead or JTAC. If you're leading, make sure to follow the flight plan. While many situations may be resolved in several ways, for instance, if you miss your target, it is very likely your wingman or someone else will take it out. It is still a scripted campaign, and there's only so much that can be done to make it more varied. Third, if something goes wrong, you're behind your aircraft, or you get overwhelmed with a plethora of things happening simultaneously, don't worry. This is not a campaign for beginners, and it is okay to try the same mission again. Trust me, things will go much smoother on the second playthrough, and hey, we all been there. This campaign uses a special system invented by Baltic Dragon, which will enable you to almost completely avoid having to use a spacebar or F10 radio menu for making choices during your playthrough. Of course, both options will still be there, and you can always use them if you prefer to, or if you don't have any more HOTAS switches to spare. It is highly recommended to use a new system though. For that, we will be using the windshield switch that has 3 positions: I for ice, off in the center, and R for rain. It doesn't have any function in the simulator, and thus is perfect for what we want to do here. This is the location of the switch. Open the controls menu and bind the windshield switch I and R positions to switch on your HOTAS. Once you've done this, press the spacebar to continue.
Which I've already done. There. And there. And let's just get the stick in place.
When playing through the campaign, you'll often be asked to indicate that you're ready to move on or that you have accomplished some simple task. These indications will always show in a form of a prompt on the right side of the screen. Here's a short example.
Okay, standard procedure. Grab A-18C, go base on aux, and let me know when ready to taxi.
2. Welcome. You can now see a prompt on the right side of the screen, telling you to press I, R, or spacebar to indicate that you are ready to taxi. That means you can press the newly assigned HODA switch in any direction, or you could use the good old spacebar as well. Two, ready to taxi.
1. Roger.
Very good. This system can also be used to choose between two different options, like who should attack the target, or acknowledge previous message, or ask if to be repeated. For this, it is important to remember which position of the switch is for I, ice, and which is for R, rain. Let me give you another example.
2. 1. I'll take high cover, attack the locomotive and the middle car with fuel. 1 JDAM on each target in the target of opportunity mode. Clear to engage when ready.
Okay, the prompt on the right side now says that by pressing I, you will confirm the previous message, and by pressing R, you will ask for it to be repeated. You can also use the good old F10 radio menu to make your choice. You may ask for the message to be repeated as many times as you like. Try it now, or choose Affirm to move on.
Okay, let's repeat the message.
To say again my targets.
2. 1. I'll take high cover, attack the locomotive and the middle car with fuel. 1 JDAM on each target in the target of opportunity mode. Clear to engage when ready.
Okay, that works well.
To Roger.
Great, we have the basics covered now. However, while we are talking about the HODAs, there's one more important announcement to make. As you might have noticed, this campaign is sponsored by our good friends at WinWing, and they agreed to provide 2 sets of their excellent gear as a prize for 2 lucky players who get the campaign. If you send proof of purchase of getting the F-18 Arctic Thunder to draws@balticdragon.net, you may win either a WinWing F-18 HODAS or WinWing MIP panel, the VR version. Alright, I think that's all with regards to the HODAS. Now let's move on to the radios. Now a few words about radio frequencies. As is the case with all Baltic Dragons campaigns, you'll need to be in a correct frequency to hear what is being transmitted there, which means, as is the case in real life, you'll be jumping between them quite a lot. However, the game will detect whenever you switch to the correct channel, and as soon as you do, the mission will progress automatically. Here's a quick example.
Go chainsaw on primary.
2.
Again, there's a prompt on the right side of the screen saying that you can either switch to the correct frequency or use the F10 menu and inform that you have done so. The F10 option is just a backup in case the game fails to detect the change, so normally it should be enough to switch to the listed agency. Chainsaw is on the channel 10 on the left radio, so go ahead and select it now.
Okay.
Check on primary, Devil 3-1.
Devil 3-2. The prompt disappears and the mission will continue. A short remark from me as a Finn. Our Air Force doesn't really use primary and aux terminology for the left or right radio. Instead, we have COM 1 and COM 2. However, in this campaign, those will be mixed. which can be put on the background of joining NATO and adopting some of the American phraseology. Likewise, the Finnish Air Force does not use Mavericks or GPUs, but again, it is assumed in the campaign that after joining the alliance and with the growing threat of our eastern borders, we start to train in using these weapons. The missions are much more fun that way. Speaking of the missions, before I let you go, let me introduce members of our squadron, pilots of the Hävittäjälentolaivue 11. Major Aleksi Lunchbox Lentonen is the guy in charge. Originally from Tampere, fascinated by flying from an early age. Father used to work as a mechanical NCO for the Air Force. Focused on getting into flight school for the Air Force, and got in. Actually, a very boring person. Likes his lunches. Let's move on. Captain Väinö Safety Johansson. He hails from Helsinki. Joined Air Force's rebellion against family tradition of doing conscription in the infantry. Nervous about making mistakes while operating the plane. Along these, he's forgotten to properly fence in multiple times in training, hence the nickname. Captain Maija-Riitta Eyebrow Eikkala. Born on a farm near Turku, used to farms and animals, she burned her eyebrow off as an officer came to it while using excess gasoline to light up the fire inside the tent. Captain Ella Shadow Jokinen. She comes from Jyväskylä and played ice hockey growing up. Often saw the Air Force flying from Tikkakoski Air Base, which started her passion for aviation. Flew gliders before joining the Finnish Air Force. Not the most chatty of people, but has hilarious one-liners. Loves close formation flying, will stay on your wing like your shadow, hence the call sign. Captain Michael Biggie Anderson, United States Marine Corps. He's our very own American exchange student. Joined Marine Infantry at 17 out of high school, was deployed with the 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit to Helmand in 2007. He was accepted in the Marine Corps Enlisted Commissioning Education Program upon his return, and he commissioned aviation. Given the call sign back in the grunt's eye, B-I-G-I, pronounced Biggie, because of his frequent references to his time in the infantry, and I suppose at his large size for a bug driver, 6'2", 230 pounds. First Lieutenant Masa Boots Perttumäki, born in Kauhava, Ostrobothnia. He's known for his strong Ostrobotnian accent and a story where he was totally wasted in a hangar party and he was found in a cleaning closet. When asked what he was doing in there, Boots claimed he was looking for his lost flying boots. First Lieutenant Walter Slick Wikström. Lost his hairline at age 19, looks like a bowling ball. There's nothing slick about his flying either. First Lieutenant Ville Liiki Tuomari. Not much to say about this guy, apart from how he got his call sign. He couldn't figure out how to close his pedal back on a long transfer flight. The whole cockpit was wet. And I am First Lieutenant Antero Boomerang Tahvanainen. I'm a grandson of former Karelian Finns. Spent time in Australia as a kid, where I got a big dent on my forehead from getting hit with a boomerang while down under. Explains the fairly nondescript accent. And this is where I'll break character as a voice actor. Most of that is true in real life. Except it was my grandfather who lived in Australia, and whose name I'm using here. He escaped from Viipuri during World War II, and was a Finnish Air Force NCO in the 50s. There, he had the privilege to fly the Fuga Magister as a mechanic. After that, he founded a printing press in Sydney as an immigrant before returning to Finland a decade later. He loved flying and was an avid pilot, owning multiple aircraft for his civilian companies. Unfortunately, he never saw me fly a fighter jet, but when I did that in real life for the first time, he was in my thoughts. I never got the opportunity to be his co-pilot, and I never visited Australia, the land that my grandfather so loved. Thus, my character is a tribute to him. Now, let's get back in character. And that's about it. Enjoy the campaign. If you encounter any issues, first check if you disabled any third-party unofficial mods and EasyComms. And if that doesn't help, feel free to reach out to Baltic Dragon on Discord, Facebook, X, Twitter, or Ego Dynamics forums. Also remember that, while loosely based on real events, this campaign is a work of fiction. And finally, Make sure to check the twin project made by Reflected Simulations for the F-16. Paljon onnea matkaan ja toivottavasti teillä on hauskaa.
Okay, well.
This is CNN's Prime News, taking the time to examine world events, issues, and newsmakers, with Bernard Shaw in Washington and Susan Rook in Atlanta.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. This morning, at 9:30 a.m. local time, Russian armored troops crossed the Finnish border and began to push west along Highway 82. The Finnish army was able to halt their advance at Salla, where heavy fighting is still ongoing. Simultaneously, Russia launched cruise missiles at a number of military and civilian targets, including airports, industrial complexes, urban areas, and hospitals. The current death toll stands at 3,000, with hundreds of people still missing. Search and rescue teams are working tirelessly to comb through the mountains of debris left in the wake of this deadly and unexpected attack. Although Finland is not yet an official member of NATO, several countries have pledged their support and are sending armed forces to assist in the fight, including Sweden, Norway, the United Kingdom, and Poland. The President of the United States has declared that this attack cannot be tolerated any longer, and the United States will actively participate in this open conflict. We are fully committed to taking any and all measures necessary to defeat the Russian military and to secure the liberation of not only Finland, but also Ukraine, he said during a press conference earlier this morning.
Okay, well, that's about the long and short of it. The introductory. Okay.
Okay, between you and me, I think that the Arctic Thunder title sucks, and the campaign should have been named Under the North Star, but that's just me. Luckily, Airgoons are hosting a multiplayer campaign with that great name. Google it. Now, go and get them.
Oh, okay. This concludes this intro mission. Okay, fair enough. I did actually Google the Airgoons, and obviously because this mission, this campaign came out at the back end of last year. Of course, their that campaign that they're talking about is concluded. But anyway, this is now concluded, and hopefully, we'll see what Mission 1 is going to provide. Okay, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.